Hi, hello, I'm Amy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a little bit of catch up on my reading wrap-ups. So I read 18 books in April, 3 ebooks, an audiobook, a physical book, and 13 manga. So this was definitely the start of my manga binge. I did only read one physical, so I'm just going to put the pictures up on the screen of the covers. I did put together a script for this part of the video. Hopefully it's not annoying for me to read from it. I'm going to try not to look at it too much, but I'm sure you probably know how it goes. I am going to read the description for each of the books that I've read in April, and if it was a book in a series farther along, then I'll just read the description from the first book, which is the case for the first book that I finished in April, which was Promised in Blood by Sadie Kincaid. It's the first book in the Broken Bloodlines series. Every few millennia, a child is born. Some say they're marked with a curse. Others claim they possess the power of the ages. Meet Ophelia Hart, lover of classic literature and unicorns, an orphan with nobody in her corner, no family, no friends. But it's her loneliness that fuels her life's ambition to become a social worker and help the forgotten children just like her. For a foster kid with only slightly above average grades, it feels like a pipe dream. Except it seems that someone is looking out for Ophelia after all. When an unexpected opportunity to attend Montridge University arises, she thinks her life is finally taking a turn for the better. Too bad. She comes to the attention of the 3 ruthless, arrogant commanders of the Ruby Dragon Society, 3 of the most feared and powerful vampires on campus. But Ophelia doesn't believe in vampires, or witches, or magic, or ancient prophecies. I liked it well enough to continue in the series. It's a quick and easy read, kind of a palate cleanser, if you will. Nothing too serious. If you like vampires, reverse harem, it is a Why Choose series, so there is that. And I will warn you, if you do pick it up, there are some questionable dynamics between our romantic interests and the main female character, especially towards the beginning of the first book. So there is that. You've been warned. But it was an all right read. The main male characters definitely have alpha energy, so that is another thing to look out for if that's not really your vibe. But that was Promised in Blood by Sadie Kincaid. Next, I finished Dark Desires by Eve Silver. Betrayed by those she trusted, penniless and alone, Darcy Finch is forced to accept a position that no one else dares, as assistant to dangerously attractive Dr. Damien Cole. Ignoring the whispered warnings and rumors that he's a man to fear, she takes her position at his eerie estate, where she quickly discovers that nothing is as it seems, least of all her handsome and brooding employer. As Darcy struggles with her fierce attraction to Damien, she must also deal with the blood, disappearances, and the murders. I did give this book 2 stars. I thought it sounded exactly what I was in the mood for at the time. It's historical romance, a touch of danger, some mystery. Instead, I was constantly annoyed with our main female character, Darcy. Her spur-of-the-moment decisions to do things that just made me cringe and feel awkward. So there's that. Also, suspicious activity that was almost blatant in how obviously misconstrued it was. And then the romantic chemistry between our main characters felt like it was missing a key element to it. I'm not sure how else to describe it, but they were, I guess the best way to put it is they were definitely thirsting after each other almost constantly. So there is that. But the mix of it left me bored and skimming, probably for the first time ever in a book. I don't typically skim at all, but I did want to know what was going to happen, but I didn't really want to go along for the journal. I didn't really want to go along for the journey, if you know what I mean. So I did like the premise, and there were parts of the book that I did enjoy, but it just really wasn't my cup of tea. I would say I'm probably the minority in that opinion, at least as far as Goodreads reviews go, but I also wasn't alone because there were some that were pretty similar to my own thoughts on it. But if you like the Jack the Ripper-esque mystery and just want a really quick, spicy read, you might be interested in it. The atmosphere was fairly nice, but I guess maybe it just wasn't a good time for me to read this one, or there was just something about the writing that didn't quite fit my taste, I guess would be the best way to put it. But that is Dark Desires by Eve Silver. The next book I finished was The Wolf King by Lauren Palphreman in the Wolf King series, the first book in the Wolf King series. When a princess is kidnapped by an alpha, war rages between the humans and the wolves, but soon forbidden attraction starts to grow. Princess Aurora longs to escape the castle and the marriage that has been arranged for her, but on the night before her wedding, at a dogfight where captured werewolves are made to fight for sport, she spares the life of a young wolf. It puts her on the radar of the powerful alpha who was going to kill him, and it changes everything. That night, when the alpha escapes, he kidnaps her and takes her to his rugged lands north of the border, where the once warring werewolf clans are beginning to unite. He thinks that she is the key to winning the war against the humans. I gave this one a 3-star. It was an impulsive read that I found on YouTube, of all places, so I'm not entirely sure that it was... how do I put this? I'm not sure that it was an official upload on YouTube, so I probably won't listen to any more, at least not until I do some more research, because I don't really want to consume audiobooks from an unauthorized source, if that makes any sense, especially since I can get it from the library for free and don't support potential unauthorized versions of it. So we'll just go with that. But that aside, I did enjoy the main female character and the main male character for the most part, and I thought the lore was interesting. The plot was engaging, and Aurora's fiance is a complete monster. He's horrific. So it was easy to root for her to escape with the main male character, even if it meant her becoming a pawn in his schemes to go to war with the humans. Throughout the course of the story, she has to overcome some of the ingrained prejudice that she has against the werewolves, and also deals with their prejudice against her. I enjoyed some of the side characters, and the end took some both expected and unexpected turns. It was overall enjoyable, with a decent take on the spicy werewolf trope, I guess you could say, with undertones of colonialism, prejudice, hatred, and revenge. I'm not in a hurry to continue the series, but I do think I will eventually pick up the next book and see how it continues. Next, I finished The Absinthe Earl by Sharon Lynn Fisher. This is the first book in the Faery Rehistory series. Miss Ada Quicksilver, a student of London's Loveless Academy for Promising Young Women, is spending her holiday in Ireland to pursue her anthropological study of fairies. She visits Dublin absinthe bars to investigate a supposed association between the bittersweet spirit and fairy sightings. One night, a handsome Irishman approaches her, introducing himself as Edward Donahue. Edward takes absinthe to relieve his sleepwalking, and she is eager to hear whether he has experience with fairies. Instead, she discovers that he's the Earl of Meath, and that he will soon visit a mysterious ruin in Newgrange on the orders of his cousin, the beautiful, half-mad Queen Isolde. On learning about Ada's area of study, he invites her to accompany him. Ada's torn between a sensible fear of becoming entangled with a clearly troubled gentleman, and her compelling desire to ease his suffering. Finally, she accepts his invitation, and they arrive in time for the winter solstice. That night, the secret of Edward's affliction is he is, in fact, a lord in two worlds and can no longer suppress his shadow self. Little does either of them realize that their blossoming friendship and slowly kindling passion will lead to discoveries that wrench open a door sealed for centuries, throwing them into a war that will change Ireland forever. I did give this one 3 stars. I thought it was alright. I wanted to love this book, and it started out well enough, but I thought that the relationship between Ada and Edward kind of had some weird pacing, though that is kind of explained by one of the key plot points of this of the books. And while I do appreciate that Ada was able to significantly contribute to their adventure, it almost felt convenient, especially considering she's one of, well, I guess that's typical of fantasy, almost like the chosen one trope, kind of, that she just happened. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but my interest did definitely start to wane about halfway through the book, and I don't think I'm going to continue this series. I did appreciate the lore and all of the fairy creatures, but it just didn't quite keep my attention enough for me to want to continue. So that was The Absinthe Earl by Sharon Lynn Fisher. And then I started my manga binge, starting out with Love That's an Understatement, volumes 1 through 6 by Fujimomo. Spare eraser? Check. Extra folding umbrella? Check. First aid kit? Check. Cool and collected high school student Risa Amakawa has something in her heavy bag for every situation, and the last thing she needs or knows how to ask for is anyone's help. When she saves a beat-up delinquent in the park one rainy evening, she refuses any sort of repayment. But it turns out that saving the notorious Zen Ohira buys her the attention of some unsavory characters, as Zen keeps swooping in to help her out of one pickle after another. Her feelings about relying on anyone but herself and her feelings towards Zen slowly start to change. I did give this one 4 stars, pretty much all of the books that I've read so far. Rissa definitely likes to be prepared for absolutely everything and anything, so she doesn't ever have to ask anybody for help, but she's not prepared for the after effects of helping Zen out. It's the classic introverted girl meets an extroverted guy and he kind of pulls her out of her shell, which is one of my favorite, I guess, tropes. I don't know if it would be considered a trope or just a plot line, but I eat it up every time, and I definitely look forward to reading more of this series as it comes out. So that was Love That's an Understatement by Fujimomo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Next is the only physical book that I read in April, which is Frozen by Stardust by Elizabeth Helen. This is book 5 in the Beasts of the Briar series. It's kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I will go ahead and read the description for the first book in the series. I don't want to put out any spoilers since it is the 5th book in the series. But we have 4 beastly princes, 1 awkward bookworm, an enchanted world of fae, magic, and danger. I've always loved fairy tales. I never imagined I'd actually be in one. When my father wanders into the enchanted realm of the fae, I know I have to go after him. And when he gets imprisoned, I'll do anything to save him, even trade my freedom for his. I had no idea I'd end up imprisoned by 4 sexy fae who turn into beasts at night. I have to win my freedom, and that means making a bargain with them. They must find their mates in order to break the curse. If I can help them do that, they'll set me free. Sounds simple, right? So I wasn't sure that I would actually enjoy this series when I started it because it seemed almost to a T to follow the original Beauty and the Beast, except that we were swapping out a singular beast with 4 hot and horny fae. But it took me by surprise because it eventually took a unique turn, and I really loved the world building and the magic and the lore behind this fairy realm and the main character Rosalina's ties to everything that's going on. It caught me by surprise, and how how deep of a history you're given for each of the characters. It kind of delves into their unique personalities and their unique life experiences, and just how each of them interact differently with Rosalina and give her something else that she needs. This is a why choose, which I'm pretty sure is pretty clear from the premise, I guess, considering we're swapping out 1 beast for 4. So there is that. But I really even enjoyed the side characters, and it's less surface level than I was expecting from a Beauty and the Beast spicy retelling. So I've really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's something you would be interested in, but if you like Beauty and the Beast retellings, don't mind that it's why choose and like a spicy romance, you might give this one a try, but I will say, go past the first book. Definitely, if you don't like the first book, at least give the second book a try. Again, this is free on Kindle Unlimited if you have a subscription to that, so you can try it for free, and it's definitely one that I want to continue. The fifth installment does bring along some long-awaited events, but it's also got some frustrating character decisions that were made with some devastating consequences in some cases. And it did kind of leave off on a cliffhanger. Book 6 did just come out, so I'm excited to get to that one. It's not on my TBR yet, but I may just have to squeeze it in just to see what happens next. I'm hoping that the rest of the series will continue to kind of deep dive into each of the characters individually, expand on the world lore, maybe solve some of the mysteries that are going on. Hopefully no more characters die. I'm not going to give anything away though. No spoilers. Then after that, I went on to continue back to my manga binge, and I went with Choking on Love volumes 2 through 4 by Keiko Iwashita. This is another one of them that kind of goes to the introvert and extrovert kind of dynamic. Opposites attract in this romance about a career-focused artist and the bad boy guitarist who turns her world upside down. Hibari, a single-minded art student with dreams of becoming a graphic designer, feels insecure about being ordinary compared to her peers. Gaku is a free-spirited guitarist from the same university, turns her world upside down after a chaotic encounter at a ramen shop. I think she works at the ramen shop, but I'm not positive. Hibari wants nothing more than to escape the disorder Gaku brings to her perfectly planned life. But as he slowly breaks down her walls, Hibari starts to realize that a little chaos might be just what she needs. I did give this one 4 stars because, again, it's one of my favorite dynamics for the main characters. So I think this one is more about encouraging her to trust in her own artistic abilities, in her own artistic talent, and just believe in herself and take risks that may pay off for her, and it'll just build her confidence the more that she lets herself be true to her artistic inspiration so that she can eventually reach that dream of becoming a graphic designer and letting Gaku in. And I just think it's sweet, and I'm looking forward to continuing the series as it comes out. Next, again, more manga. You're My Cutie, volume 4 through 6 by Nakaba Harufuji. Madoka is obsessed with shoujo manga, specifically manga that features younger, innocent guys who fall for their senpai. So she should be thrilled when a gorgeous kohai comes to work at her father's restaurant, except he's rude and standoffish, and wants nothing to do with her. But when she protects him from some extra pushy fans, he finds that maybe he's found someone letting his walls down for. This one I gave 3 stars. There isn't anything wrong with it, of course, but I had my doubts about the series. When I very first started it, I thought there would be a lot of awkwardness. I thought there would be a lot of secondhand embarrassment with their interactions, and she does almost overcompensate with trying to be respectful of his boundaries. And it's kind of funny because she's so focused on trying not to make him uncomfortable that even when he's giving her signs that really it's okay as their relationship develops, that doubt is still there. So it's fun watching their relationship kind of unfold and them getting to know each other and become comfortable with each other. So I did really enjoy this one, and I do look forward to continuing. For the last book I read in April, I decided to test out the Kindle Unlimited manga series that were available, and I chose Chihiro-kun Only Has Eyes for Me, Volume 1 by Sato Ito. This one, well, I'll just read the description and let you decide if it sounds interesting. It's not every day that a guy tells you you're his muse and to strip down while you're just minding your own business. That's just what happened to Michi. She caught the eye of Chihiro-kun, a fellow student and aspiring fashion designer. He's inspired by her and wants to use her as his model, but can Michi stand the attentions of such a devoted artist? I gave this one 3 stars. I had my doubts, and it definitely started out very awkward, but it is growing on me. It reminds me of my dress-up darling, and centers around fashion, of course, and Michi stepping out of her comfort zone and becoming more confident in herself despite her experience or her inexperience in being a model, and just the dynamic between the two characters as they grow in their own abilities and develop a relationship beyond just model and designer. I know at least the first book is free on Kindle Unlimited, but at some point you do have to purchase them to continue. I will eventually continue the series, but it's not at the top of my priority list. So that was Chihiro-kun Only Has Eyes for Me by Sato Ito. So those were the 18 books that I finished in April. Let me know if you've read any of these, if any of them sounded interesting to you. And I'm not sure if I'm going to compile all of the months together in one long video or if I'm just going to release them by month as very belated wrap-up videos. But we'll just see how things go. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.